Horsey, the son of Honor Code, who earned over $2 million in just 11 starts, is here and ready to do business. Horsey is here to do business. Horsey is here to do business.
All right, here we go again. Now, I got a special guest backstage, and tonight it's gonna be a nice vibe. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers, all the viewers, all the guests who've come on the stage just to bless this platform. I just want to say thank you all. It's an honor to have everybody on. I truly appreciate it. We're always looking for more guests. We're always looking for more interesting people. That's what makes the show go around. It's really an honor for me watching the jockeys, watching the trainers, all the hardworking men and women out there that work with the horses. It's pretty cool. You guys inspire a lot of people, quite honestly, and it's really a pleasure having you guys on and hearing the stories of all of you. And you know what? Let's get right into our next guest. The one and only. Shall I give her a more of an introduction? This young apprentice coming all the way from the prairies. Interesting name for a jockey. We don't hear those kind of names too often, but here we go. Rachel Slevinsky, welcome to the platform.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Welcome to the platform.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, Rachel. Did you know that you're probably the only Slevinsky in racing or race riding?
Yep, definitely. That is for sure. Actually, that name it comes straight from Ukraine. Actually, so I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
Oh, straight from Ukraine. A big horse racing family, or what? Or just coincidence?
No, actually, none of my family is in horse racing. My dad's side of the family, they moved from Ukraine 4 or 5 generations ago, and none of them have anything to do with horse racing. All they got to do is farming and chuck wagons, I guess, and rodeos, but nothing horse racing related.
Hey, you know what? I think just exactly what you said is kind of it's like the backbone actually for the horse racing too. The farming, all that comes together. So you do some farming and you've got some horses or whatever, you probably can do very well.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're coming from? Where did you grow up and so forth?
Well, I was born in Alberta. I was born in St. Albert, Alberta, and I kind of grew up around the Edmonton area. I mean, my farm is 3 hours north of Edmonton, but my mom, she came from Korea, so I'm actually half Korean and half Ukrainian. But my mom moved from Korea when she was young, and then she met my dad, and that's kind of where we all grew up. I've got a few siblings, but none of them have anything to do with animals or horses or anything like that. I'm the only one, so it's a little black sheep for sure, but it's all right.
You know what? You might come out being the shining star out the family, doing something different.
Yeah, that's for sure. I always thought it was gonna be my little sister because she's smart, but who knows? We'll see.
You know what? I did not know that you were half Korean.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell my friends now. I got a bunch of friends that work with me all in a Korean company, and I'm pretty sure they'll all be excited. I hope they all log on now and hit that like and subscribe button.
yeah. It's pretty funny because I get a lot of people like they hear my last name and they know that I'm from Alberta, so they think that I'm kind of native or something like that. But my mom, she was born in Korea and she moved to Canada when she was younger. So she's an immigrant from Korea. English is not her first language, even though I mean she doesn't have an accent or anything like that. She's been here long enough. But my symbol on my jock pants and on my boots and everything like that, it actually comes from the South Korean flag. So it's an S. So it's like the yin and yang symbol, and it's pink and black, which are my colors, but it bases off of the South Korean flag.
That's really cool and very interesting. I'm pretty sure you got many, many stories. Because you're well diverse. You said Ukraine,
Yep.
Ukraine and Korean,
Ukrainian. Yeah.
and you're Canadian. So
Yeah.
uh, it's quite a story to tell. And you know what? From first glance looking at you, I'm like, man, this is a pretty face girl. Not to say that jockeys ain't got pretty faces, but do you always get this a
I do.
misconception about you when you show up and you say you want to ride or something?
Yeah, a lot of people think that, I don't want to get dirty or stuff like that. They think of a pretty young girl. They always tell me I should be in modeling instead or something like that. Something not as tough, but I mean, I was raised with a bunch of brothers, so it's kind of in my blood.
And how many brothers?
I have 2 older brothers and I have 3 younger brothers, so 5 in total.
Wow. So you telling your parents that you want to ride horses for a living, and
Yeah.
your brothers, I'm assuming they don't.
No, none of them have anything to do with horse racing or horses in general. I was the only one that loved being sent out to the farm for the week or for the summer times. My sister kind of picked it up a little bit, but then when she got older, she was more into basketball. But I was the only one that was like thrilled to be sent out to the farm for the entire summer because my parents were like, "Oh no, we're not going to deal with you. You're going to go out to the farm and work on the farm and hang out there and learn to be a kid." And I was the only one that was like all for it.
And were they supportive of what you were doing?
They were very. My dad was very supportive. He's the reason why I got into horse racing to begin with. He knew a friend who was a trainer, and I started when I was pretty young. I started grooming when I was 15. So I started that way. My mom was a little wary at first, only because she wants to protect me and she just wants me to be safe all the time and she doesn't want me to get hurt. So at first she was a little like, I don't know if you should be doing this, but now she's very proud of me, the fact that I've traveled all over the United States and everything like that. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. A girl coming from Alberta. Alberta. That's where my guy Roy Sturgeon is
Yeah.
from. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but pretty good dude down there doing some
Mhm.
really good stuff for all the youngsters. I guess. Did you come through a program like what he's doing down there?
I did actually. I went through the old college program just outside of Red Deer kind of area. Which is not too far from Alberta either. Like they have a whole college. A lot of jockeys, a lot of people from Ontario actually came from that college. Omar is one of them. Omar Moreno is one of them, and he's the other jock that my agent has. So he came from that college as well, and it's a really good. There's an exercise rider program, and then there's also a groom program. So it gives you a lot of the basics when it comes into the start of horse racing.
Nice. And what's the most important thing that you've learned from that college so far?
Honestly, I couldn't say that there was one thing. It was kind of everything. They just taught you how to get your foot in the door, how to carry yourself, and to always learn, to keep learning, never stop. So, yeah.
No, that's good advice because
Mhm.
I guess you're finding out in horse racing is always ups and downs, and when you think you know it all, either something else pops up, right?
Yeah, definitely. Never, no two horses are the same. There's something different every time. That's for sure.
Speaking of popping up, I just wanted to we spoke a little bit backstage earlier, but how you doing? How you feeling? You had a little spill a couple weeks back or last week, I think it was. But how you feeling and everything else?
I'm feeling better. My body soreness is getting better. Some days my head is a little bit more in pain than other days, but for the most part, I'm trying to cope with it very well. I don't do well sitting down and not, watching everybody go by. I don't do well with that, so that's one thing that I've had to get used to. But it is bittersweet. I was able to fly home despite my injury. You know, it was kind of nice to go home and see everybody for a little break. But as of right now, I'm okay. I mean, it is what it is, but I wish I was riding still.
Well, I would say, a little break ain't a bad thing. A little rehab, and get
Mhm.
back stronger and mentally and physically ready for some other things. And plus, the cold will help down in Alberta, right?
Yeah, definitely. It is. They got a lot. They're getting snow here. They're getting a lot of snow here. I'm not too happy about it, but it is what it is.
Home, sweet home.
Yeah.
Oh, so was that your first spill, or did you have one before?
Actually, that was my first like serious spill. I did have a horse break down with me at Century Mile, but that was like on the gallop out, and she just popped her suspensory. But she's okay. Everything's good with that horse. But that was the first one that I've genuinely. I mean, I broke my leg a couple of years ago, but during races, that was my first serious spill.
Oh wow! Here I'm thinking, just like everybody else, under the impression a pretty face girl, and you've already got a broken bone, and
Yeah.
you're a veteran already.
Yeah, it's definitely not if you get hurt, it's when. So, been doing it for a while. So, been riding horses since I was 12. So, yeah.
Nice, good. Well, let's get right into it. Let's get in some races and so forth, and hear a little bit more about your story and everything else. So far, you've managed to rack up 177 career starts, and
Yes.
you've got 15 wins. Um, how does that feel for early beginning?
It's pretty good. I mean, especially because of where I'm at and where I got those wins, like coming from out west. I made a big move to have my first year start out west and then only winning one race and coming to Woodbine, it was a big step and it was scary, but I definitely knew that this is where I wanted to be. And so that many starts and that many wins I mean, it feels good, especially coming from where I came from. I didn't come from anything. I had to build my own name. So the fact that I came here and nobody knew who I was, nobody even knew who I looked like, to be able to come here and make a name for myself was pretty good. It feels pretty good, and it's just the
I,
beginning. So
yeah, definitely is the beginning. I
Mhm.
mean, you can hold your head pretty high, pretty cool. Um, so make by making a name for yourself. What are some of the things you've got to prove to the trainers and owners? Tell me about that plight. Is it tough, or you find is a pretty straightforward laid out path to take?
it can be tough. It can be tough at times. There's some moments where it's easier than others. Definitely a lot of like trust building and letting people know that I can carry out instructions as well as make my own like interpret my own race and stuff like that. Like it's just I don't know. It's a different scenario here versus back home in Alberta. Like the trainers are a little bit different, especially because there's more money in Woodbine. There's like a better caliber of horses, so it's a lot more effort that goes into those kind of horses and that kind of racing. So when they do give you a shot, they want you to try your hardest, and that's something that you have to prove when you get here is that you're willing to work hard and you're willing to push right through to the end. Like you don't give up, and that's definitely something that everybody wants to see around here. So.
Yeah, but and from your point of view, you're willing to put that effort, that extra effort in to get the big rides, get the big
Yeah.
mounts, and to do well for the years coming up for you, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, not
Well,
only just the big mounts, but I mean every mount. Like every mount it all matters, and that's something that they want to see because it's their livelihood. It's not just a pet to them, or it's not just one race. Like that one race could have paid for the feed bill, or could have done a little bit more. So it's definitely You gotta try hard for everything.
Well, it looks like you're building quite a fan base here because I mean, there's already people commenting on everything else. Somebody already asked if you can cook like Rachel Ray. I don't know what is that.
Mm.
What does
I
that
mean,
mean?
I can cook. I can cook pretty well, but I don't know if I can cook like Rachel Ray.
Well, maybe one day you can, go on Facebook Live or go on YouTube Live or something, and you can prove people that you can cook, and
Yeah,
I think
that's
that would
true.
be a big hit.
I have baked a couple of times for some of my barns. I'm not gonna lie, I baked some cookies and like lemon squares and stuff like that for some of my barns. So yeah,
Oh wow, man! I might have to sample one of those one
yeah,
day.
yeah,
Just let me know when it's happening. I'll come down and taste
definitely.
taste. Hey, do you remember your first win and what it felt like after that first win?
I do. I do remember my first win. It was my fourth race that I've ever ridden, and it was on a little horse named Sophie McTrophy, for Rod Cone over at Century Mile. And I've ridden her once before, I think it was. I remember it clear as day. I even remember Alex Marty, who's also at Woodbine this fall. He like turned over to me and he's like, Rachel, just it's okay, like relax. You're on the lead. You pick the pace. He said, "This is your race. Like this is all you." And he's telling me this down the backside in the middle of the race. And then the moment we get down to the front and we pass the quarter pole, he's yelling at me to go, just to let her go. And that was probably the best moment of my life, and I'll never forget it. And he's always been really nice to me, and I've learned a lot from him since then. So
Nice, that's very nice.
mhm.
Now, coming from Alberta, now you're here well, not here right now. You're still in Alberta because you
Yeah.
went back home. But Alberta, Toronto, is this the big stage for you currently?
It is. It is big. It is definitely like somewhere where I wanted to be, especially when I rode my first race over in Ontario. Going out there and coming through the tunnel was surreal, and then seeing the big grandstand and everything like that. Like I definitely knew that I was on the right track. I mean, I haven't stopped yet. I just started, and I definitely want to go to Churchill and all those other big tracks too. Eventually, one day, you never know, but it's definitely a stepping stone, and we're getting there.
Well, you got some big plans there.
Yeah.
My goodness, I didn't realize you were thinking that broad. But I guess for any jockey, you have to think
Yeah.
big.
Hmm.
So tell me about this bucket list that you got. What's some of the other parts of that bucket list? You want to go to Churchill Downs? Obviously, you want to get in the
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby. I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yes. I mean, just like every other jock, that's the dream. That's the end goal, is to be able to ride in the Kentucky Derby or win the Kentucky Derby, stuff like that. I mean, I don't want to stop just here. I don't want to stop with just Canada. I like to travel. I like to see things and new tracks and everything like that. So I would definitely like to be able to ride down in the States as well as all over, just anywhere in general. I've heard that Japan has really nice, really cool facilities over there. So it doesn't. I mean, we'll just see wherever it takes me, I guess.
Wow, that's some really bright ambitions. I really hope that you can fulfill those dreams. But let's start with the King Split here in Canada. And
Yeah, definitely.
how about you riding in that next
Yeah,
year?
I'll try. I'll definitely try my hardest. That's for sure.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I know Emma has won the Queen Split before, so there's
Yeah.
quite a few females that's before you've done their thing around these parts. And pretty sure if you keep your head up, you'll be one of them too. What do you think of your I wouldn't say rival, but just to see how Sophia is doing pretty well here in
Mhm.
Woodbine. You figure that could be you next year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like a few of the bugs that have started this year, they're losing their bugs next year, so I'll have that 5 pound advantage for the majority of the year. Still considering that even like with the races and everything like that, and all the wins that they've had and everything. But it's definitely a goal for sure. I've built a good, I guess, clientele here now that people know who I am, and I've proven myself pretty well here. So, I mean, coming from out west and not knowing anything, and a lot of people don't even know about the track out there because it's fairly new. It's only I think 3 years old, or 2 years old or something like that. But I think I've definitely started to make a name for myself. So next year we'll definitely come back better and stronger.
Well, besides having the fall the other day, were there any letdowns you felt like there were for you throughout this season? You probably had a number pick of wins or something like that. I'm just trying to pick your brain to see how you see things.
I never had a number picked, because I didn't want to set, I don't know how to explain it. I didn't want to restrict myself, I guess you could say. I just kind of wanted to go out there and try my best, and whatever happens happens.
Mhm.
I really just wanted to, like I said, make a name for myself and show people what I was made of, and that I wasn't just some random girl coming from Alberta, that I had something to prove and that I could ride a horse. And I think that's exactly what we did. I'm very grateful to my agent Brandon. He's worked hard, and we've done pretty well this year, I think, and I'm very excited for next year too.
Oh, I like that. I like hearing that. Agent Orange, big up yourself, man.
Yeah.
He's pretty entertaining and he's
Yeah.
pretty clever. And it's a good conversation too. So maybe one day I'll get him back on here and we can chop it up
Yeah.
and
There
talk
you
a little
go.
bit more about the races and so forth. Do you ever get those kind of conversations with him, like long, lengthy conversations about any and everything?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's pretty good. It was funny when I first started going down to Fort Erie. He actually would drive me. He'd drive me to Fort Erie, and we'd talk. And I mean, I got to know him a lot better, and his girlfriend and everything like that. And they're amazing people. Like, they were there right at the hospital the moment I got there when I got hurt and everything like that. So I do owe a lot to them. They're definitely like family now. So they he's worked hard this year, and he's definitely a character, and everybody knows him and loves him. So it's a good dynamic that we have going on, because I don't really want to I don't know, disappoint anybody. So when we all come around, everybody's always laughing and having a good time, which is exactly what I wanted. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. And, sometimes we like to stir up the pot a little bit because, they say a lot, jockeys sometimes, agents come and agents go. So,
Yep.
um, I guess you guys got a pretty good relationship right now. So,
Yep.
I guess you guys will be staying together for a little while, right?
Yep. Hopefully, we'll see. Hope he doesn't fire me, but we'll see.
I think usually it's the opposite way around.
Yeah, exactly.
You're being very modest about it. So, uh, that's pretty cool. Um, what's so far this year? I mean, at Woodbine, were there any horses that stood out to you the most that you've ridden that you say, oh man, this is a beautiful horse? Was there that one horse?
Um, there was a couple. There's been a couple. I mean, I haven't really. The one that went down with me on Sunday, I feel like that one was definitely one that I was very excited about. Not only to ride him, but in general, he was just an overall kind horse. But he was definitely one I told Brandon, I said, you want to watch this horse when he
Hmm.
runs. You want to watch him his first time out. There's a couple of 2-year-olds as well that I was also very excited about. But for the most part, honestly, all my horses ran really well, even the long shots. I had a couple of horses that were like 40 something to 1, and we hit the board and we came second or third. So honestly, I'm very proud of the horses that I've had. So
Wanted to ask you about that. For a jockey, does that make you feel good when you're riding a horse that's a longer shot and you prove to the I guess to your peers that you can bring that one in? Does it make you feel good, or you want to be on the favorite?
oh, it does. It does make me feel good. It does make me feel good. There's actually one little filly, one little mare that is at the track. She might be retiring soon. I'm not too sure, but she's pretty hilarious. Her name is Wake Up Maggie for Harold and Jesse Laddiser, and that little mare, she is tough as nails, but if you look at her form, she didn't really run anywhere for a while until I got on her, and then she started running. She started running huge for me every single time, and it didn't matter where we were or what kind of trip we had. She would always try for me every single time. And I really told them from the very beginning that I got on her, I said, I'm going to win on this little horse for you. I'm going to win on her. And she was actually in on Thursday, but I wasn't allowed to, I couldn't ride her, because of my fall on Sunday. So that one really hurt that I wasn't able to get on her, but I love her to bits. And that little filly, she runs hard for me every single time. And everybody, they all knew it too. They were like, you can't take her off because she's not going to run anywhere.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know, you had the fall, you're back in Alberta, but
Yep.
you won't be staying in Alberta for too long. What's
No.
your plans for the winter?
Hoping to be cleared and good to go. By the time I'm done here, by the time I leave Alberta, I'm going to be going down to Florida. I'll be going to Palm Meadows Training Center for Safi Joseph. I'll be a breeze gallop rider down there. I'm just making sure that everything's good with my head and my health before I head over. Just to make sure that I don't prolong any injuries and stuff like that. But I'm very excited to start down there. I think it'll be really good for me to learn from some of those big trainers and big riders as well. I'll hopefully learn a lot and pick up some new tricks.
I want to ask you about that. You're pretty young in the game, and Safi is pretty relatively young in the game, but he's got some experience. He's a pretty good trainer. How'd you end up in a barn like Safi Joseph? Tell me about that.
I knew his assistant trainer that was in Tampa because I was in Tampa last winter. I was freelancing down there last winter. But then she came, like she was here for the Woodbine meet as well. And I mean, whenever they needed help, like I just told her, like let me know if you ever need anything. I'll be there. Like I just tried to prove, same thing. Like I tried to prove to people that I like to work hard and that if I'm not afraid to put in the effort in the morning to get them out in the afternoon. So and I started breezing horses for them. Safi was really pleased with the way that I breeze horses. So then I started breezing more and more, and then I ended up getting a couple of mounts from him. And so then I asked him, I just straight up asked him, I said, hey, do you need any help for the wintertime? I'm looking for a job. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course, I'd be happy to. So they've been waiting there for me for a little while. But he's been very supportive, especially with the injury and everything like that. He's told me to take my time. So it's all good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him. He seems like a very nice man. I've met him a few times, and it's always been pleasant. I mean, he carries himself well, and his family and everything like that from as well, like everything that I've seen from him. He's definitely somebody that I would like to learn from.
So, I mean, you're going down there to gallop,
Mm-hmm.
but will we be seeing you in the afternoon at any given time?
Not this winter. Not this winter. I'm gonna be saving my bug as well, so I will be having it for the majority of the Woodbine meet next year. Um, I would love to ride down at Gulfstream or somewhere down there at Tampa, but it's just I think it's better off for me to hold it a little bit longer, learn some more, kind of perfect some things, especially coming from a big barn like that with big riders. There's definitely a lot more that I can learn and a lot more that I can perfect. So I'm very excited.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of that and learning and so forth, being a young jockey, this is probably what's your second year of race riding.
Yes.
And do you have any mentors in this game that you lean to for advice or support, just for riding and so forth?
Um, when I first started, I didn't really. I mean, I had a couple people, but when I got here, Omar was actually one of the first jockeys to. He was like jumped right in there to help me out and give me a hand. So I definitely look up to him a lot, especially because when he came out of the college and he came out here or out to Ontario, he was like leading apprentice at his time and he did really well for himself. So he's definitely someone that I look up to, but I can't say that I could pick just one person. I mean, I would love to learn from everybody. Everybody's got something to say, whether they win however many races or one race. You know, they always have something to teach you. Especially being an apprentice, it doesn't matter how many races they've won. It's just, you know, the experience that they have, and that the fact that they've ridden more races than I have, and they've always got something to that you never thought of, you know. So it's just a little bit of everything from everyone.
Well, I'm just looking at one of the comments here, and I'll let you see it too as well. But somebody said, "Tell us about your first Woodbine win." I believe it was on your birthday.
It was.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about that and tell
That
maybe
was
I guess it was special.
It was very special. It was for Ted and TJ Holder. It was TJ's horse. It was a little filly named a gal for TJ, and
All right.
it was on my birthday, and it was a pretty good win. I mean, she's a funky little mare, but I mean, it was a really nice win. I rated her pretty good, and the moment we came down the stretch, she just took off, and her tail was swishing. She was pretty mad that she didn't want nobody to catch her, but that was a very, very nice win. And it was on my birthday. It was my only mount that day too, so it felt pretty good.
That must have been special.
It was very.
Now, have your family come out to the races and watch you race live?
They actually did the last couple of weeks ago. My mom and my sister came out, and my aunt. I live with my aunt out there, so they come out every once in a while. My mom loves it. She loves to bet on me, and she's my biggest fan. She's the one I can hear her even when I'm in the race. I can hear her screaming for me from the grandstand. So yeah, she definitely when she gets a chance, she loves to come out and watch.
I'm seeing something special here because I know down in Australia there's so many female riders,
Mhm.
and here in North America there's a bunch of female riders as well. Is there any rivalry? Or do you ever try to beat anyone in particular when you race ride here in Woodbine, or no, you just ride to win? It doesn't matter who you're riding against.
I try to beat them all. I try to beat them all. I just want to be the best of the best. It doesn't matter if they're a girl or a guy, you know. The end goal is to cross the finish line first. So, yeah.
I want to ask you something here because last year, I met I'll drop some names here. Last year I met Nikki Hine,
Mhm.
and Slade Jones was the apprentice of the year for the entire Canada. Both of them they didn't come back. What makes us believe that we'll see you coming back and doing your thing and seeing you for the future?
I definitely will be coming back. I don't give up very easily. I am extremely stubborn. You can ask my mother. She'll tell you for sure. I'm very stubborn, and when I put my mind to something, I follow through with it. I don't stop until I succeed.
Those pretty strong words.
Yep.
Strong words for a girl from Alberta who wants to ride eventually in the Kentucky Derby, wants to win the King's Plate, and she definitely wants to let the trainers know that she's ready and fit
Yeah.
up for the job. Is that fair to say?
Definitely, it is. It is fair to say. I've got a lot to learn. I've come a long way, but I've also, I've grown a lot and I've changed a lot, especially with my riding style and everything like that. And I can only get better. So it's exactly what I'm going to do.
Nice. I once heard or read, I don't remember, I was doing my research and I saw somewhere that you rode chuck wagons or something like that. Or is this true?
No, actually, my uncles they did chuck wagon racing. So when they worked on the farm and stuff like that, they did the wagon. So they hitched up horses to the wagon, and I'd help them out every summer, and we'd bring my horse along. I have a little Arabian quarter horse that I would take everywhere with me, and I did barrel racing with him. And I did everything with him, honestly. But it wasn't. I never did chuck wagon racing, but that's kind of where it all started. Was when I remember being a kid and my dad taking us to the rodeo, and we were watching the chuck wagons. They have these two outriders is what they're called, but they're all men, and they were all men. And so I looked at my dad and I told my dad that I wanted to be the first female outrider. So there is a female chuck wagon driver, but I mean that is a little bit more difficult because you're steering around 4 thoroughbreds, not just one. So I told him I was gonna start off with just being the outrider. I was gonna be one of the first female outriders because they were all boys. And then I ended up just sticking with horse racing, and I never stopped.
Something else I'm picking up on too, because anytime I'm speaking to the ladies, you guys have so much dialogue, so much conversation. Sometimes it's really difficult to get guys to actually open up and just talk. Does that help you, when you're out doing your business and help Brandon, because Brandon's a pretty good talker too. So does that
Yeah.
help?
Yeah, it does. It does help, especially because then that way people kind of get to know you a little bit better, and they kind of get to understand the way you think. And when they trust you, they trust you with their horses and stuff like that. So it does help a little bit. It definitely helps that I'm a little bit more approachable than some of them boys out there. So if they need anything, especially in the morning and stuff like that, then they'll come by and ask, and I'll, for the most part, help them out if I'm not too busy.
Well, I'm going to try to pry a little bit into some business, some horse business, because I see that there's a gentleman who move a string of horses from Alberta to Woodbine. I think it's Rycroft. You familiar with him?
I am familiar with the Rycross. I actually rode a horse for Tom Rycroft, who is their dad. Riley and Tim are here at Woodbine this year, so they've done really well for themselves over at Century Mile and stuff like that.
I
And
know. That's why I'm asking you.
yeah, they've had a lot of horses and they've won a lot of races, a lot of big races, and they came out here and they're starting out again and claiming some horses and building up their barn out here. So it's nice to see them. Nice to see them again.
So I guess we probably can expect to see them strutting this stuff at Woodbine pretty soon, and probably making their presence be known. Um,
Yeah,
Here we go,
hopefully.
Alberta
Hopefully.
connection.
Yeah,
A whole Alberta
Alberta's taking
connection
over.
coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So after going down to Florida, I guess once Woodbine starts back, we'll be seeing you back here in Woodbine again, right?
Most definitely.
That's
Definitely, yeah.
that's the future plan. You're gonna ride bug ride for the entire season at Woodbine, and
Yeah.
I guess Fort Erie as well. You're gonna probably Brazier too.
Yes, I'm also gonna be riding at Fort Erie. I had a couple of offers to ride over in Minnesota this past year, but I had horses that I had to ride here and stuff like that. But I used to work for Chip Woolley, and he's been a big help since I started galloping and since I wanted to become a jockey. He definitely put me on a lot of horses to breeze, and he definitely wanted me to ride for him this year as well. So hopefully next year I'll be able to fly down and help him out in Minnesota.
Well, that's pretty interesting, because I've heard from a couple of people that going out there was actually pretty good. They actually enjoyed the experience down there. So I don't know. I guess you probably like the big time. So I guess down in Florida is probably good for you.
It is. I'm very excited. I loved it. I loved Tampa when I was there last year. I traveled all over the states. I love going to new tracks and just riding horses anywhere I can get on a horse. I'm happy. So I'm very excited for this year.
I gotta tell you something. So because you got the face of a city girl, but you got the heart of a country girl. Which do you prefer? Are you a country girl or you're a city girl?
Honestly, I can't say that I prefer one over the other. I do love my animals and I love my horses. I've always been stuck in the middle. I've been too, I guess you'd say, white from my Asian side, but too Asian for my white side as well. But I definitely have got the best of both worlds. I cannot complain. So
That's an interesting take, and I'm glad that you were able to say that, express yourself in that way.
yeah,
Um, and it's always good to hear, open heart conversation, because it makes it so much easier. You know what I'm saying?
definitely. Yeah.
Are you the kind of person who just lays it all out, or you're more sheltered?
No, I'm not. I mean, if you ask, I'll tell you. It's definitely not something that I'm not one to go out there and blab. I'm not really. I don't really like to be the center of attention, which is kind of odd becoming a jockey and having
It
the
sure
spotlight
is.
on you all the time. But no, I'm not definitely not one to be the center of attention. So if you do ask, I'm very open. I'm pretty open book, and I'll tell you anything you want to know.
That's great to hear. I think Woodbine will be looking for persons like you, being so young and ready for the spotlight. You're not shying away from media at all.
No.
So I'm pretty sure any business, any corporation would embrace people like yourself. Um, do you see bigger, better things in the future besides horse racing? You know, sometimes you guys blow up and all of a sudden you see you on TV everywhere else. I mean, for example, let's take Chantal Sutherland. Uh, she's growing into something. Uh,
That is true. That is very true. I've never thought about it. Everybody has told me something that, oh, you should be modeling or you should do this or that. To me, honestly, it's just my love for the animals. But if anything does happen, I wouldn't say no. I'm not opposed to, any of that kind of stuff. But I definitely it's all about the horses for me.
Good, nice to hear. A lot of horse people would appreciate that.
hmm
I want to ask you because we're having such a good conversation. You're pretty open. You have free speech. Do you ever get people telling you to watch what you're saying, or do you just are you able to express yourself in that manner, being as intelligent as you are?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean
Well,
by?
a lot of jockeys are very sheltered. They kind of they don't always want to say a lot of stuff. They kind of keep it to themselves and so forth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've never had that issue, mainly because when it comes to the animals itself, like when it comes to my trainer asking me about horses or something like that, it's I feel it's always out of the best interest of the horse. So I'm not afraid to tell them something. I mean, I'm not gonna be vulgar about it and tell them, like their horse sucks or something like that. Like it's not like that. If I think something will benefit the horse and help the horse run better, then I will definitely speak up and let them know. And I think that they appreciate that as well because they want their horse to do better too, So, and being the one on the horse and feeling the horse and knowing how they move and all that other stuff and how they react to certain things, it is part of my job to let them know, in the nicest way possible, of course. But I mean, I've worked for a lot of really really nice trainers, and I can't say that I've had any issues with any of them like that. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, that's nice. You're complimenting the guys who put you in the mounts, and that's important. You're doing a pretty good job. I like the way how you express yourself, and I think a lot of people appreciate that. So tell me a little bit about Fort Erie, that experience on Fort Erie, and did you enjoy that experience? What's the feeling like compared to Woodbine?
Um, I did. I really enjoyed Fort Erie. It was a lot of fun. The driving back and forth, not so much, but it was definitely it was much more homey, I guess I could say. Like the best way to describe it is it's a lot more relaxed. It's not so much pressure. Like at Woodbine, it's definitely very serious and strictly business. And when you get to Fort Erie, it's more comforting. The jocks room and everybody's just a little bit more comforting. Like the big trees and everything, and the paddock it's not so brick wall and kind of I don't know how to explain it as much as like as I love Woodbine and I love the atmosphere there. Fort Erie it's kind of refreshing. It's a little bit more fun. Everybody is having a little bit more fun. There's not so much cameras out there and stuff like that. But I did enjoy it. I do love it. I will definitely be back next year. It was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of good horses there, and I had a lot of good wins. So yeah, it was definitely good. It was a great experience.
Well, you know, the higher the purses get, the more intensifies it gets. So I
Definitely.
can completely understand where you're coming from. There's lots of money on the line, so everybody gets a little bit more serious when it comes to the racing and their business. So I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
Um, oh, hope you're all right.
That's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Well, let's talk just a little bit more, and then we'll jump off. But Florida, in 5 to 10 years, where do you expect to see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
I don't. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping to be riding full time, like all year round, not just in the summertime, but also in the winter. We'll see. I don't know whereabouts that I want to ride, but I definitely want to continue riding and hopefully win some more races and win bigger races and go from there.
Before we go, I really I'm picking up something, and I like to hear that because already you're telling me you're sharing a lot of information here, and you're telling me a lot about yourself, and you definitely say you want to ride year round, so which means you want to compete, and you want to compete during the winter, and that's
Mhm.
pretty awesome to hear from a young jockey. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who will be listening, and they like what you're saying. Any future plans, really? I mean, like you're building your stacks right now. You're going to Florida. You're building connections and so forth. I'm pretty sure we'll probably see you at one of the tracks in the States pretty soon. Who knows? Maybe 2025, so forth. We might see you in the winter.
I
Is
definitely
that too
hope so.
far?
I definitely hope so. That is the goal. That is the end goal. I'm not quite sure where I want to start yet when I go down to the States, but I've been to Seattle. I loved it there. I loved Emerald Downs. I've been to Terror of Paradise. I've also been to Minnesota, which was Canterbury Park, and I loved that place there. That was one of my favorites. But I'm definitely open to going to even like other tracks. I've heard a lot of great things about fairgrounds and a bunch of other stuff too. So I'm definitely hoping to be riding down there all year. I hope to come back to Woodbine as well. I don't want to leave. I mean, it is sort of home for me, but I definitely would like to be riding in the States for the winter meets at least for sure.
Well, you know that's pretty nice to hear, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably see you pretty soon, probably on our televisions.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, you know, you being an apprentice, I really we don't have a whole lot more history on you. I'm pretty sure I will be very excited to see you back again sometime soon, and I'm pretty sure you'll have a lot more stories for me. I really hope so. Don't be a stranger. Please drop in
Definitely.
and say hello.
Definitely. Of course, yeah. It was lovely being here, and I can't wait for us to go down the road and do another interview to see what else I've accomplished.
Oh my goodness, I think there's a lot of fans out there. I'm just gonna shut them off right now because I think it's getting warm inside here. Rachel, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. It's been a pleasure. You've been awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's been really fun. It's been very fun.
Please don't be a stranger. If you get a chance to say hello to my guy Roy Sturgeon down there,
Of
Alberta, please stop
course.
by and say hello to the kids. Drop by, and you know,
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure the kids will be very excited.
Oh yes, of course.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. All right, take
All right.
care.
Until next time, right?
Definitely.
All right. You take care down in Florida. All right. So what an only Rachel Slevinsky, the only Slevinsky in racing, and she was a pleasure to talk to. I'm pretty sure we'll have a few good more guests on leading up to the year and going into the new year. I want to thank everyone again for viewing in, subscribing, for supporting the channel, support the .com, demandfortruth.com. Check it out and pick up some gear. It's pretty slick. You get a good cap like this. You get a toque, some nice caprice for the young ladies out there. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes stuff. So please go ahead and check it out. All right. So until next time, hopefully we'll chat again and chop it up as usual. Until next time, peace.